And I'm Pat Humphreys. Great to see you all.
So there it is. We got our notice that we're all live streaming. So hello to folks who are watching on Facebook Live, and hello to everyone in the room. You know, we're so glad always to come in and host, and we're especially glad because this week, well, we are on the East Coast for the next 2 weekends. We've got shows coming up. We hope you'll come see us in Brattleboro, Boston, Northampton, Washington, D.C., and all that info will be in your chat. But also, we're excited to be here in afternoon time, which never happens for us. It's usually 9 a.m. So I'm going to make sure to sing like it's afternoon. And you know how we like to start this? We like to sing hello with you and to you. So, Pat. It's gonna be our key. You know what you're gonna do, you're gonna sing. Hello, 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 hello. Good morning, good day, good afternoon. You're here with us in the Zoom room, or maybe you are watching on Facebook Live. Hello, 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 hello. Let's say hello to Joe, our host for today. Well, we're actually your host, but you know what I'm gonna say. There's Anna helping us out today. Hello, hello, hello. We've got one of our fabulous friends in the room who's gonna sing for you. I think you know him by now. He's full of love, and that smile will set your heart on fire. Reggie Harris. Let's say hello to Kathleen in Albuquerque, Carolyn Du Bois, 794. Brett is there, and Arlene in Berkeley. Hello, 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 hello. Kevin in DC, James Harkless, hello. We've got Chuck in Detroit, Sheila in Florida, Susan in Seattle, hello, 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 hello. Don in the Curly Tops, Jenny in Suffolk, UK, Sarah in Texas, Ruth in UK, Deborah in Kentucky, and Bob Walk. Hello, 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 hello. Ralph in Victoria, Bonnie in Boise, and Luda in Victoria with a heart. There's Amanda and Alex and Miles, hello, 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 hello. Bob and Mabel and the Bears, and Karen in Iowa, Deli's there, and Becky in BC, Susan in Ohio, Dan Walker, hello, 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 hello. Bronwyn in Victoria, BC, Bonnie and Pauline in Newcastle, Brian is with us, and Karen from Oregon. Hello, 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 hello. Trish is in Victoria too, lots from Victoria. There's Jan, there's Kate in Charlottesville, and Anne in Nashville. Let's say hello, 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 hello. Gary and Storm and Caroline and Jim in New York, Jane in Texas, and Cricket is there, and in Maryland. Hello, hello, hello. Well, there are the Curly Tops. We said down in the Curly Tops before, but there are the Curly Tops. Right next to Lynn and Kat in Vermont. Annette and James is here. Hello, 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 hello. Hoda's in BC. Kathy's there. Julie's in Ontario. Jade is with us, and Nancy. And there's Kathy in Colorado. Hello, hello, hello. Busy from Maryland, right? Phil is here. I think Al is joining, and there's Trisha and Jean in Pittsburgh. Hello, 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 hello. Let's see, there's Judy, there's Lisa from Vancouver. Gwen is here, Dick and Kathy, Harriet and Loriana. Hello, 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 hello. This is how we like to start our day with you all. We sing the words that come out of my mouth, and you all say with me, hello, 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 hello.
Hello.
Hello. It never gets tired to say hello that many times because we're so happy to see you, your smiling faces on day number 794, if I understood that correctly. And that's a lot of days to be coming together to sing songs. And we're so glad to be part of this community and to be here hosting today our fab friend, Reggie Harris.
Yeah, we're coming to you from Cambridge, Massachusetts. And Reggie is a dear, dear, dear old friend and one of our favorite people in the world to sing with. So we're so excited to be hosting him today.
I wish you could have heard the harmony I was dropping in.
Oh, let's hear it. Drop it. We'll hear it in our ears.
You all look marvelous as usual, just as good in Cambridge as you do on the West Coast.
Oh, you are a sweetie pie. You know, I was going to sweeten up the pie about you a little bit, too, because just looking at what you've done. We know all the fabulous songs you've written and all the concerts you've led for adults and for kids, making a difference in how kids understand our history, which couldn't be more important than right now. But also you've been getting these fantastic awards. You received the Folk Alliance International's Spirit of Folk Award and the W.E.B. Du Bois Legacy Award. And we're thrilled for you, and we're so glad you're here.
And also the Living Legacy Project that you've
right.
been part of with the Unitarian Universalists, and the list goes on and on. We're delighted to have you, Reg.
Well, I'm delighted to be here with you and with all of you. And I'm going to share a song this morning, as a matter of fact, that I learned not on the Living Legacy pilgrimage, but it's one that I brought to the Living Legacy pilgrimage because I learned it from Matt Jones. Actually, no, I learned this one from Hollis Watkins. When I was taking a group of kids from Albany down to the reunion of the Mississippi Freedom Summer. We took a group of about 14 high school students down and met all kinds of freedom riders and folks who were in Mississippi in 1964. And as we were waiting for our van to come pick us up one afternoon, Hollis Watkins walked by, and I called him over and I invited him to meet the kids. And they looked at him and they said, "And who are you?" Which is what they did all week. "And who are you? And who are you? Where are you from?" And Hollis said, "Well, I was one of the second group of freedom singers." And they said, "You were? Teach us a song." And this is the song he taught us that day. And I've been singing this song ever since. It's a song, actually, that if you look in the chat, you will see that it is... It was adapted, actually, by Bob Zelner, who is still alive, still a vibrant song leader. He was probably one of the first white song leaders in the SNCC movement, and a field secretary, and did amazing work, both as an activist and a musician and an organizer. He took a spiritual called "Bend Down into the Sea," and he adapted it and put in words about the struggle that people were going through as they were registering people to vote and teaching in freedom schools, and being hunted down by the Klan. And so this is the song, and I'm going to get a D here, which I think you all were pretty much. Yeah. So everybody, take a nice deep breath. I haven't fully woken my voice up. So let's see where it goes. The chorus, as you can see, says one of my favorite words, hallelujah. So let's all say that word together. I'm going to count to 3, and we are just going to hallelujah our way into this song. 1, 2, 3, hallelujah. And it says it several times. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. And then the tagline, been down into the South. It's a song that chronicles going to places like Montgomery, Alabama, and Selma, and Oxford, Mississippi, all of those places in the South where the civil rights movement was really stirring and where folks were working. Of course, we know the civil rights movement was not only in the South. But as my friend Greg Greenway always says, the South is not just a geographic location, it's a state of mind. So that state of mind has permeated our country as we are continuing to work for freedom and justice and equity. So the chorus goes like that, 3 times. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. And that 3rd time, you want to get a good breath because we got to hold that freedom. Then we break off and say, been down into the South. So let's try that chorus together. Some of you already know the song. If you don't know it, it's easy. So 1, 2, and go. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. Remember the syncopation on to the South. You want to throw that away. Not been down into the South, which is where some cultural folks go, but not from my culture. So there you go. I think we're ready to sing this thing. So the verses are in call and response as you see them listed. Well, I never been to heaven, but I think I'm right. Been down into the South. Folks up there, both black and white. been down into the South. Go. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. Well, I never been to heaven, but I think I'm right. Been down into the South. Folks up there, both black and white. Been down into the South. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. I've been walking around to spread the news. Been down into the South. Now I got holes in all my shoes. Been down into the South. Sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. Well, if you don't think I've been through hell, been down into the South. Follow me down to Parchment Jail. Been down into the South. Sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. Well, the only thing that we did wrong, been down into the South. Stay in the wilderness a day too long. Been down into the South. Sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. Yeah, but the only thing that we did right was on that day we took up the fight. Been down into the South. Sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Oh yeah, been down into the South. Well, I never been to heaven, but I think I'm right. Been down into the South. Don't want to go without my voting rights. Been down into the South. Sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. Sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the South. Sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Big finish. Been down into the South.
Yes.
Fabulous.
That is so what we need right now. That is fantastic.
Oh, yes.
You know, we're here on the East Coast because of this tour in support of voting rights, movement,
Yeah.
voter pack. So the fact that last section is about I don't want to go without my voting rights, so important right now.
Well, it is important right now. And, you know, there's so many of our heroes and sheroes who worked for, laid down their lives. They didn't lay down their lives. Their lives were taken. And we celebrate the efforts that people have made. But, you know, it's just so incredible to look around the country and see all of the grassroots efforts and the folks who are working now for voting rights, something that we believe should have been cemented in our national consciousness years ago. But we see the ways in which so much of the energy has gone to reducing voting rights and taking away and making it harder. So thank you all for this tour and for, you know, focusing people on the fact that we are still having to do those amazing things. You know, people used to line up outside of places. I remember standing outside of the courthouse in Selma and remembering C.T. Vivian taking those folks down to, you know, stand on the sidewalk and wait for their chance to be let in, knowing that they probably weren't going to be let in. And his face off with Jim Clark, who was, again, denying people the rights, and C.T. Vivian standing up in 1965 and saying, we are willing to be beaten for democracy. Why in heaven's name would people have to be beaten to exercise a right that is guaranteed by the Constitution?
Indeed. Yeah, it makes no sense. And of course, we keep seeing that we have to keep doing that again, which is just horrible. Those folks spent their lifetime getting us where we were, and now we have to gain all of those rights back again. It's frustrating, and we know for us, like singing and getting to hear you sing, and just being with people who care is the kind of energy that keeps us going.
Well, we all know, and sometimes we forget how the power of community. And we get frustrated and we think we're not doing enough, or we think that nobody's doing enough. It's wonderful to share those stories of what is actually happening. It is a crime, really, in America that we are having to exercise such energy around something so basic, and yet this is what we have to do. So the fact that we're doing it together, and the fact that we can do it using songs, is just really great.
Yeah. So you said that that was originally a hymn, "Been Down to the Sea." So were there a lot of reuses and not parodies, but rewrites of tunes that folks would have known?
Yeah, one of the major things, of course, as you know, with the civil rights movement, was that you use what you have, you use what you know, and you use what works. So folks had songs already, that had been in the community. Songs like "Wade in the Water" and "Oh Freedom," and all those songs they've been singing for years. Actually, the first song that was sung, I believe, at a mass meeting was "Onward, Christian Soldiers," which
Right.
we've tried over the course of years to get a little bit away from the militaristic, idea. However, people knew the song, so they raised it up. But yeah, a lot of the spirituals were rewritten, and then changed and shifted. The story about Bernice Johnson Reagan singing after I think she was about 16 years old when she led a march in Albany, Georgia, and went back to the church, and she was standing amongst the older song leaders, and they asked her to raise a song up, and she started singing, "Over my head I see trouble in the air." And as she was singing, she said she had just seen the cops, harassing them, and she had just seen the folks who were oppressing them standing on the sides and screaming, and she knew they were in trouble. She said she thought a different word was needed, and so she said, "Over my head, I see freedom in the air."
Mm.
So sometimes in a moment, people will, as we know, will change a word or change a line, um, so that we speak to what is happening in that moment. And the songs were simple enough that you could do that, and then people wouldn't be taken off by the effort to learn a new song. They already had that song in their bones. So yeah, and Bob Zelner was one of those who paid attention to that, and who recognized, even though it wasn't his tradition, how powerful those songs were. So he took that spiritual, which I've only heard about twice, actually. I didn't know the original spiritual, "Been Down to the Sea," but it was actually a spiritual that was talking about the Middle Passage and of coming over on the slave ships,
Mm.
and so he sort of co-opted that same kind of struggle.
Yeah, interesting. And I assumed it was a sort of a River Jordan baptism
Yeah,
kind of "Been Down to the
Right.
Sea," but yeah,
Wow.
interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, and tell us about, because you write songs also that people can learn in an instant, and you also write songs that are more like concert songs. And your song was up for Song of the Year, which is a
yeah, I know.
wonderful honor. Which song? It was on Solid Ground, right?
On solid ground, yeah,
Tell us about
yeah.
that song if folks don't know it. And I know that's your CD name, and that's your most recent CD.
Well, I wrote that song in the spirit and form of the spirituals.
Hmm.
I was sitting right here in this room in March of 2020 and just thinking, what can I say in this moment to all these faces that I'm now seeing on Zoom and on StreamYard? Faces that I saw fear, and I saw, the anguish and frustration over the fact that we were all separated, and that we were also looking at things like George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and protests of people, different races, different backgrounds, coming together in the streets saying we don't like what's going on. But there was such a feeling of isolation,
Hmm.
and I think I was singing songs like "Wade in the Water," and songs like "I Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around," and that kind of got me stirring to write that. "We will not rest till the storm is over."
Ah.
So as you know, as songwriters, sometimes we're searching for language. And I've been, over the last few years, really kind of leaning back into those years when I was sitting in that church in Philadelphia and hearing those voices rise up around me. And the language that they brought with them on the Black migration, from the spirituals into the freedom songs. So yeah, I was really honored that the song was up, and Chris Matthews won. Yeah, won. You know, we're all kind of competition in songwriters.
That was weird. Really weird.
Yeah, it is. But the fact of the matter is that all of those songs that were nominated were very powerful songs in 2021, and you were writing powerful songs, and we all have to celebrate each other, and we're contributing to a new body of songs that can be used in the moment, songs that can keep all of our hearts and our spirits where they need to be for the struggle that we're in.
Right.
Yeah. I wonder, before we ask you what you have coming up, would you just sing the chorus for On Solid Ground so if folks haven't heard it, they could hear it?
Yeah, because we will not rest till the storm is over. We will not lay this burden down. We will keep each other strong. We will love and carry on till we stand all together on solid ground.
Yeah, because it was playing in my ears, and I was like, I want everybody to have that playing in their ears. And tell folks what you do have coming up. I know you've got something this Saturday.
Yeah, this Saturday, actually, I'm going to be not too far away from where you are now. I'm going to be in Melrose, Massachusetts. I've been doing some work over the last 2 years with Alistair Mook in a program called Race and Song. And this came out of some conversations that we were having during the pandemic. Alistair and I had known each other for years. He actually married into a family that I've been friends with since his wife was 9 years old. I know. He's constantly saying, and Reggie, my older friend. Like, thank you, Al. So we started having conversations after years of just kind of circling each other. He called me up and he said, I'm really disturbed about a lot of the stuff that's going on racially in the country. And I've just begun to find the language to have some conversations as a white man and to get active in this work of, reducing prejudice and racism. What can we do? So we, over the course of time, came up with a show that we made a video of and started marketing. In addition to that, he began a series of conversations called Opening Doors. So this Saturday, we'll be doing one of those opening doors in Melrose, Massachusetts, from 3 to 5 in the afternoon. There's a bunch of, there's a choir that's coming. There's a bunch of other activities that'll be going on, basically to point people in the direction of continuing these difficult conversations that are so needed at this point in time.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
That's wonderful. I hope folks will come and join Reggie. And we want to thank Reggie on behalf of Daily Antidote of Song for bringing this really powerful song that we need right now. I think we're going to sing it one more time. That's how we usually do it.
Yeah,
and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah.
Say the word. 1, 2, 3, and hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the south. Well, I never been to heaven, but I think I'm right. Been down into the south. Don't want to go without my voting rights. Been down into the south. Sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the south. Well, I never been to heaven, but I think I'm right. Been down into the south. Folks up there, both black and white. Been down into the south. Sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the south. Sing hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Hallelujah, freedom. Been down into the south.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
how we
want
do
to
it.
mention that after 2.5 years of not being able to put people on a bus and having to cancel 5 pilgrimages that we had scheduled, we are announcing that we're going to do an in-person pilgrimage open to the public beginning on October the 19th and running through the 23rd. Registration will open in about a week and a half. And so you can go on livinglegacypilgrimage.org and get the information for the pilgrimage. We'll have about 25 to 30 people on the bus. We'll see how things go. But an in-person pilgrimage will be happening this fall, possibly 2. So folks should
That's very exciting. That's
yeah, it really is.
Yeah. There's a question in the chat, Reggie. Is your event with Alistair Mook, is that going to be live streamed by any chance in Melrose?
I'm not sure if it's going to be live streamed. I know it's going to be in person. And you can go on mookmusic.com and get information, or you can come on my website. I've got information there too.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to whether we're live streaming it. It's
Well, you got to know whether you need to wear the pants or not.
I think you might already have to because it's live. But...
Oh, right. I got it backwards.
well, I'm wearing them today. But,
is it M-O-O-C-K?
Say what?
His last name is M-O-O-C-K?
It is.
Okay.
And I will definitely be wearing pants on Saturday.
We're going to be wearing pants at our concerts as well.
And we are too now.
And we are also. But I do want to take the opportunity to say that the concerts that we're doing for Movement Voter Pack are live streamed. So this whole weekend is live streamed.
As well as live.
Yeah, as well as live.
Hybrid. Whoa. Oh.
Yeah, and in general, we're trying to do that, although our DC show, not sure if that's going to be live streamed yet.
Right.
But we want to thank you, Reggie, for bringing such a beautiful song to day number 794.
And it has a ring to it.
Yeah. So we're going to do what we like to do, which is, we thank you, everyone, for joining us and Reggie here today on the Daily Antidote Song. We are going to sing folks out of the room. We invite you to check out those links that are in your chat for coming to our concerts, coming to Reggie's concerts. A big happy birthday to Clara, who I guess is in the room here. That's nice. So, and this whole thing about singing out the door, we don't quite have a goodbye song, but we usually just like to see what happens. So you want to sing a note for me? So glad you could sing with us today, and now it's time to send you on your way. So we'll see you, Reggie. We love you. Bye bye now. And we're gonna say goodbye to Kathleen in Albuquerque. And there's goodbye to Carolyn in Boise. And Anna, who's our tech, don't leave yet. But goodbye to Anna and thank you. Goodbye to Kevin in DC. So long, James Harkless. Lovely to see you. See you, Sheila in Florida. Susan in Seattle. And Jenny in Suffolk, UK, across the water. Goodbye to someone whose name is covered by the Zoom. You're in Birmingham, UK. And goodbye to Deborah in Kentucky and Bob and Ralph and Victoria. We wish you all the best, Bonnie in Boise and Luda in Victoria. Bob and Mabel and the Bears. Karen in Iowa and Delhi. Becky in BC and Dan in Vienna, Virginia. We'll see you next time, Brian. And Karen in Oregon, and Jan and Kate in Charlottesville, and Ann in Nashville. And goodbye to Caroline in DC. So long to Cricket, so long to Ann in Maryland, so long to Annette, so long to Jamie in Victoria. A peaceful day to Hoda in BC. A peaceful day to Julie in Ontario, and to Nancy and her cow. A peaceful day to Phil in Totnes. A peaceful day to Trish in Victoria, and to Amanda and Alex and Miles. We'll see you next time, Sandra, and we'll see you next time, Kevin. And we'll see you, Don in the curly tops, and we'll see you, Gary and Storm. We'll see you, Jim in New York City. We'll see you, Kat in Vermont. We'll see you, Jean in Pittsburgh, and Sarah in Texas. We'll see you, Kathy in Arapaho, Cheyenne land. And goodbye to Kathy on your iPad. So long to the empty curly top screen. So long to Jane in Texas. There was a curly top popping up their curly top. So long to Jaden in Maryland and Chuck in Detroit. So long to Pauline in Newcastle. And a peaceful day to Aloysius. And a peaceful day to Jojo. And a peaceful and a birthday to Clara. And a peaceful and to Jane. And a peaceful day to Amos. And a peaceful day to Lynn. And a peaceful day to Aloysius. And to Lisa in Vancouver. And a peaceful day to Dick and Kathy. And to Bob in Albany. And to Fred in Silver Spring, where we used to live right near there. And it's a peaceful day to all. It's a peaceful day to Facebook Live and the folks joining us there. So glad you could join us everywhere. And we'll see you next time.